Hello, peace and greetings. I am Bella, and this is the new True Crime Reading channel. Email's there in case you want to send me any reading requests, and so is the Cash App at Readings by Bella for the energy and the time I take to put into these cases. We want to get the information out there. We want to keep the conversation going with these folks. So please do donate. Please do send request and share the videos, like them, and subscribe. Also check the description area because there may be like news clippings or anything that I needed to add, or the pinned comments. Thank you. Take care, guys. Peace and greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're talking about Dustin Manis, who is the father of Hayden Manis, who went missing out of Muncie, Indiana. I wanted to do a reading for him specifically because I felt like there was more to his story that needs to come to light. And so that's what we're going to do today. So this is the first spread. And what I took away from this spread was that basically Dustin was dealing with somebody who was in a relationship. The person was not sincere, and she was using the relationship for something, probably because Dustin may have been, I don't know, I don't think anybody knows really what he was doing for a living, but it may have been, he may have been working in the underworld, so to speak, and somebody was with him for what he was doing, and I think that when he realized this, like, it put him in a certain space mentally, like he was struggling with it. If you guys go back to the Hayden Manis reading, that reading seems to be more about Dustin or what led up to his son's disappearance. And it talks about like, depression, being impoverished in the mind, struggling, battling the concept of family and in this relationship with this female he was with. So I see that there are some contemplation and things like that, some struggles regarding this being female. And what I think happened was that this female has stolen something, because also in Hayden's reading, it said that there was it was the house card and it was a thief card. So that indicates that there was something that was happening in the house that was dishonorable, along the lines of, something was stolen. She could have stolen something from somebody and caused such a problem for Dustin, especially if he was in the underworld. And I think this message is a threat. It was a threat of death. Somebody probably said, I'm going to take you and your whole family, and no one's ever going to find you. I'm going to dump you in the woods or whatever. And here you have child and marriage, indicating that I'll take you, your kid, and your woman, and I'll do something to you. So I think that this female was using Dustin, and it caused so many problems, caused so much problems for him, and that this is what it led to, distant horizons, really going outside of yourself, impoverished thinking, surrounding this female, and then this theft, which caused a lot of problems, toil and labor, and then there was a threat. So this is what we have for the first spread. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. So in this reading, I'm going to follow the same theory that I believe happened with, the original Hayden Manis reading. I believe that Hayden was sold. He was given to someone, and I believe that the female in Dustin's life set that up and orchestrated it, had him believing that, there was an older woman or a mature woman that can take care of him. And there would be like some sort of benefit or money exchanged or something. But it was supposed to have been for a temporary amount of time. Like, it wasn't supposed to be a permanent thing. Like, this woman was just going to come in and care for him for a little bit. And remember, Dustin did not want his biological family having anything to do with Hayden, apparently, because he was like avoiding them. And when the courts gave him custody, I guess there was some contact, but then, physical contact, like maybe they saw the baby, but then it just kind of tapered off and nobody has seen the baby. So we have journeys, sudden wealth, child, occupation, house, community, bad health, poverty. This is why I think that this came up. Because I believe in Dustin's heart of hearts that he wanted the best for his son. I believe he really loved his son. And I don't think he's responsible for any foul play or intentional harm with his son. And what I didn't say in Hayden's reading, when I talked about how Hayden showed me that he was led out of the bedroom, I don't want it to sound like he was pulled or shoved, like forcefully. He was led out by his hand, like gently, like a parent would do, when they're taking you to school. They walk you in, holding your hand, and just reminds me of a parent kind of kneeling down and tying their child's shoe when they're taking them in to school for the first day. So it wasn't forceful or anything like that, but the baby was very upset because he didn't know why it was happening, and it was late at night, which was not normal for him. So just wanted to add that in. But whatever was going on in the house, I think that he really did love his son. He does love his son. And he knew enough to want better for his son, but for some reason, he didn't want anything to do with his biological family. And I'm trying to get to the bottom of that, like what that's all about. Because I think that Dustin has some kind of like abuse history or something. If it wasn't abuse, something happened that made him not want his child to be around his other biological family. All right, so bad health, poverty, courtship is this relationship that he was in. It imprisoned him because he realized that he was dealing with somebody that was not right. This person was false. They couldn't be trusted. And I believe that this is the mature woman. And I think that the mature woman took advantage of the fact or held it over Dustin's head that, yeah, you do have a criminal history, you have an addiction history, and this is what I can do. I can go to the courts, I can go to the police, I can tell them anything I want, and then you can have trouble, toil and labor. You can expect problems. So that's what I think happened. I think that, whoever this female was, she knew what she was doing, the courtship. She knew what she was doing. She brought this idea about somebody else taking care of Hayden, and then it was like a setup. And this female must have I think this female is related to this woman. But there was, I think that was it. And I think that whatever happened to Hayden, at some point, even after he left his father's house, it was like he was sold, so it's like, I feel like he was trafficked again, that he's not even with this mature woman anymore. So, Dustin was involved with some bad people. This female he was dating, whatever he was doing for work, if he was, into street work, nefarious work, whatever, just bad people. And he was struggling, which is what we've seen in Hayden's reading. He was struggling with the family completion, feeling happy as a family, because he has these addiction issues. And if he'd have just gotten counseling or stuck to his treatment and dealt with whatever it was that went on in his life when he was a kid, because I believe he was traumatized. He might have been abused. If he had just dealt with that, so that he could be healthier for himself and his child, then he would have been able to avoid this relationship, this female, that empress, whoever that is. And when the cops said that they spoken to the girlfriend that lived with him and they were cleared or they don't know anything, listen, I think the state's federal bureau needs to get involved with this, because we don't know what kind of interview or investigation that the police has done. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. I don't think they did any real investigation. If you're talking to a woman that lived in that house and they're saying that there are things that they know that they didn't release. They say that the baby was terribly neglected, and that woman that was living there when this was happening wasn't held accountable. Like, help me understand this, because there's just a lot that doesn't sound right here. And I think that they need to get more eyes on this case to investigate, because for all we know, if Dustin was into something dirty, then the chances are that there were some cops that were involved in that dirty work too, which is not uncommon. So, but that's it for this spread. Let's see what else we can see. Okay, so for this spread, I think I got it now. The girl he was dealing with had like cops in her family. Okay, look, lovers, house, false person. She was the false person, high honors official person. That's law enforcement. That's why the lady was holding it over his head, threatening, to take some action. She probably said, well, I know judges and I know this, I know that. He was dealing with somebody that was from a family of like cops or something. Whoever it was that had connections. And that's what this is. And then again, my theory about him being trafficked, he didn't being trafficked the second time, I think that this is coming out as well. All right, so when we see imprisonment, marriage, and that sort of thing, the pressure of having to please somebody, again, I talked about that in the first reading. I just didn't know it was this. The pressure of maintaining a relationship, having to please somebody, because it's her parents and her peoples that are involved. The people, her family, whoever she's related to, they are involved with the police and like the law and stuff, the courts and stuff. So she's a privileged lady. That courtship was killing him. He probably didn't know what the hell to do because of his background. So he was probably like walking on eggshells. And I think that's why, he really didn't do anything when his son went missing. He didn't say anything because he probably felt like he couldn't. With all these people involved and, people involved in the court system, cops or whoever the fuck they were. You know what I mean? Who are you going to tell? Like, what are you going to do? Especially with your background, with your history. And I'm going to tell you something else. They said Dustin died of a drug overdose. Was it really that? Did somebody give him something bad on purpose? Could somebody have harmed him? Could he have gotten to a point where he may have said something about feeling guilty or bad about what happened to his son or the situation? Could he have said something to somebody the last time he was in jail? Did somebody give him a hot bag? That's something I would, I'd like to look further into as well. So yeah, marriage, imprisonment, privileged lady, courtship, coffin, death, and then made female, male, message of concern, wealthy man, a gift. Now, you guys know about the adrenochrome thing and what they do to children in order to extract it from them. Wealthy people are involved in this thing. Gift. These people sold him. Did they sell him to somebody who was wealthy? Message of concern, wealthy man, a gift, I talked about the water ritual, which I'll get back into again. They mainly do it to children. It's a drowning ritual, or it's a partial mock drowning ritual that a lot of these certain types of people are into. So yeah, I mean, I do. I think that I think he ended up the second person he ended up with was the person that he ultimately met his demise with. I'm talking about the baby, and this person was into some stuff, into some stuff. So we see wealthy man, and that says it all to me. So everything I pretty much everything I assumed, or not assumed, but everything I picked up on, I'm seeing Dustin confirm it in this reading for me. And of course there's some new information, like this privileged lady being connected to, likely, to the police and such. So now I have to go back and look at Hayden's video and look at it again, because yeah, this is this is really tragic. It's really tragic, but especially when you are dealing with people who are connected to like law enforcement on some level, and then they're holding stuff over you, and then so I think this is what happened. I didn't think that he harmed his son. It definitely looked like it the way it was presented. I'm going to link that interview, not that interview, but that segment that the news did for Hayden under this video. I'll see if I can dig up a couple more spreads on this, and then that'll be it for this reading. So we'll see if I can find anything else. Okay guys, so in this final spread for Dustin Manis, we have some confirmations and some unexpected cards over here, but I think the sexual orientation base, sex worker, sex industry, Northeast, I think that may relate to this juvenile card. So let's go through them all. So in the last spread, I was questioning if Dustin could have actually been murdered to keep him quiet. So the first card that came out was definitely no. And then I reshuffled, I put that back in, reshuffled, got it again, first card, and suicide, drug overdose, offered drugs, got high regularly or used drugs, but I think offered drugs is the phrase that relates to this. He's saying definitely no suicide, drug overdose, was offered drugs. They did it for the money, teenager, juvenile student. Could it have been a sex worker that offered him this? I don't know where Dustin's body was found. Could have been in the Northeast. Not sure how those cards relate, but they came out. And sex worker came out twice. So under offered drugs, says my death was an act of retaliation or revenge. I actually got this card when I did Hayden's, but I couldn't make sense of it, because I'm like, why would anybody take revenge after for a baby? So it didn't make sense. And now that it's coming out, Dustin is telling me what happened. So I think, like I said before, that Dustin got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And even when he was in jail, they could have been stalking and harassing him in jail. And he might have got sick and tired, might have said, and I'm talking about the guards or, somebody in a position of power, and he might have said something to somebody. And you know how it is in jail. They, inmates be, they talk about stuff, and they for attention, a lot of times they'll rat out other inmates and stuff like that. Could have said something to somebody in charge, to a corrections officer or whatever. And then when Dustin got out, they could have sent someone, this teenager to harm him. And here we go again, son eaten by cannibal. Now this came out in Hayden's reading, the cannibal, eaten by cannibal. But remember, yes, there are pedivores, but there are also people who abduct children, steal children, to extract adrenochrome. So that's also a form of being consumed, is they're consuming a biological fluid, a chemical, a hormone in the body of children. We already know that this is a big problem in the world. So I think that wealthy person looked at Hayden as a gift, and probably did whatever he did, terrified the baby, because that's what they do. They terrify children so that their that hormone secretes into their bloodstream, or however it works, and then they extract it But you know, a rich person, a person that has done this before, that has a history of doing this, definitely is going to be set up to do these procedures. It could be somebody in the medical field also, because there's a lot of psychopaths that have medical degrees. But yeah, so I got this again, eaten by cannibals. So I'm entirely confident in the information that. And of course, it's, you know, for entertainment purposes only. But this is everything that came out in this reading. I believe personally, it is my opinion that this is what happened. I don't think Dustin killed himself or OD'd on his own. I think he was harmed because he was probably ready to say something. About what happened to his son, and that he was coerced into it and harassed and threatened, and that the girl he was dealing with came from a family of, you know, powerful, influential people, and his son was trafficked twice. And so this is the reading. So thank you all for, if you've stayed this long, thank you for watching. Please like the video and share it. And please let me know what you think. I'm going to pin the original clip that the local news station did, so you guys can have like a background, and also Hayden's video. So yeah, so this is the reading again. Thanks guys. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.